You hate sales and it's because of who you think you have to be to sell, and I'm going to prove it to you in this video. Welcome to Ponder with Ashley. I'm Ashley Waddington, the founder of Ponder This Consulting. And as someone who has done corporate sales, trained salespeople, and now does founder-led sales in her own business, I'm here to help you change the mindset from hating sales and feeling like it's the hardest thing in your business to understanding how you can successfully sell and actually not hate this part of your business. So I want to start with having you close your eyes and think about, what is your idea of a salesperson? What do they look like? What do they sound like? Are they pushy? Are they aggressive? Are they manipulative? What are you feeling in your body when you think about the idea of a salesperson? If it's negative, that's the person you think you have to be to sell, and that is why you hate selling. You have an idea that you have to be this person, which makes you feel physically uncomfortable and feel like you are outside of your own integrity and morals in some cases. That is not the truth. I want to challenge you to think, why is it that you believe that that is the only way to sell? Now I want you to think about, how often do you sell something that you don't get paid to sell? Every single day. Your favorite coffee shop, your favorite gym, that Instagram account that you really like, that I don't know, that snack you really like from the store. Every single day, we're selling things, whether it's prompted or not. Someone may say, "Where can I get a good cup of coffee?" You mention your favorite coffee shop, but they also may not ask. They may say, "Oh, I love coffee." And you bring up your favorite coffee shop. It was not prompted by a need. It was prompted by, I want to add value to you. You say you like coffee. I know of a great spot where you can get coffee. I want to add value to you. You sell every single day. When you date, you're selling that you are a good partner or potentially a good partner. When you interview for a job, you're selling why you're right for the job. When you interview someone for a job as a hiring manager, you're selling the company and why they would want to work for the business. Every single day we sell. The difference is our mindset around it. You are not consciously trying to push something on someone who does not have a need. You're simply listening and asking good questions and then offering value to the other person. Now, whether it's received positively or negatively, you have no control over. And that doesn't change. I may say, I love coffee, and you say, I love this coffee shop, you should try it. And I say nothing in response. Or I say, I don't like that part of town. That could feel like rejection to the value that you added. That could feel like rejection in a sales process. I really like this coffee shop. I think you really like it too. And then you shut me down. I can't control that. But I can control my mindset around what was my intention in sharing that information. And this is what's going to change your mindset around sales. But first, we have to address the fears, because the fears, coupled with who you think you have to be, are ultimately why you hate selling. So let's get into it. I'm sure you could have easily guessed that the number one fear is rejection. And I want you to start by thinking, what area of life can you succeed without rejection? Rejection is a natural part of living and experiencing life and interacting with the world. But when it comes to sales, it's the sheer volume of it. And it's something that we have to get used to and we have to understand as part of the process. But that's a lot easier said than done. And as someone who's done corporate sales and someone who's done founder-led sales, I want to encourage any founders watching this that founder-led sales is harder, and here's why. In a corporation, when you're doing sales, one, you're stepping into an established process in most cases. So they tell you this is how many calls or emails or DMs or whatever their process is, whatever channels they're using. This is our process. These are our KPIs. This is how you're successful here. Here's scripts. Here's how to be successful. It's all laid out for you. Your job is to step in and do the work, right? Additionally, when someone rejects you, or it's perceived as rejection in the process, you can say, they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting the company. Now, when you're a founder, you are the company. And in some cases, you are the product and service, right? And so when someone rejects you in your own business, you feel it very personally. And I still feel this to this day. Like, this feeling does not go away because it's your baby. This is your business. And in some cases, if you're the product, you're the service, it's like, oh, they are rejecting me. But the reality is that they might not be hungry for what it is that you're offering or what it is that you're trying to understand The problem that you think that you're solving for them or you could solve for them, they might not even perceive as a problem. There's so many variables and you can't control the other side. So one of the most important things to do is to get as comfortable as you can with how uncomfortable rejection is. It's not personal. It truly is just about the other person on the other side. And there's a whole bunch of variables that you don't see, you don't know. You're operating with limited information and doing your best to uncover in the process. The other thing that I want to point out is often when you first get into sales, you take silence as rejection. Silence is not rejection. If you send out 100 messages and 2 people respond positively, 90 of them never respond, and then a handful of them, quick math is not mathing, 8 of them are negative, let's say, negative or indifferent, okay? That's 98 perceived rejections in your mind. But in reality, the negative responses are really the only rejections. So if there were 2 negative responses, 2 positive responses, and then everything else is indifference or silence, don't perceive the indifference or silence as rejection, because that's not what it is. It's simply they're not hungry for what it is that you're reaching out for. So getting over the fear of rejection will help you so much in your mindset around sales. And this also comes with, what is your intention in reaching out? If your intention is truly to find, is there a want, need, desire? I know I can potentially help this person, but do they have this problem? Do they have this challenge? Do they want help? If you're coming from a place of wanting to help versus wanting to take, it's going to shift your mindset around why you're reaching out and how you experience the reach out and the interaction itself. Fear number 2 is being pushy or perceived as annoying. Now, here's the thing. This is something you really have to get over if you want to succeed in your business. Because one of the biggest mindset shifts I used to teach to my new sales trainees was, you are not top of mind and you are not a priority in that other person's day-to-day. So because our job and our function is sales, or as a founder, you're focused on sales in your business, right? Your priority is sales. The person on the other side, that is not their priority. They have their own spinning plates and their own chaos and their own fires going on in their day-to-day. And so often we think we're being annoying by following up, and we're feeling that like, oh, I don't know if I should follow up again. I feel like I'm being annoying. I don't want to be seen as pushy. But that is us and our own insecurities. That is not the other person. The other person may have just had so much going on, had family emergencies, had fires at work, fires in their business. You have no idea what's going on the other side of that email chain, that DM thread, the phone, the computer. You have no idea. And so often our biggest barrier is we create stories in our head as to what's going on. And then we create this fear of being pushy or perceived as annoying. And the reality is that I've had people reach out to me after my 7th follow-up. Now, context is important here. They had expressed that they were interested, but 7 follow-ups would give somebody anxiety. That person said, thank you so much for following up. I've had so much going on. I've been meaning to respond, and it just kept getting buried in my inbox. Now, obviously, that's not the experience with everyone, but the reality is that you don't know until you know. And so really try to combat the narrative that you're telling yourself and the insecurity that you feel about being annoying or pushy, and understand that if you're truly trying to help the other person, you're following up because you know that they've expressed interest and they probably have 7 million other things going on, and you want to make it as easy as possible for them to say yes to the next step and you actually coming in and helping them. Fear 3 is not knowing what to say. Now, this one comes with preparedness, and we have to take accountability when we have this fear. Because when you are entering into a sales meeting, when you're reaching out with a sales strategy, you're going to feel as prepared as the effort that you've put into being prepared. If you feel like you don't know what to say, it's a really good indicator to take a step back and go, maybe I should think this through. Maybe I should think through what are the potential objections. Maybe I should think through the user experience of this sales strategy. Maybe I should think through my research strategy prior to my sales calls so I feel prepared entering the call and I understand What are my objectives? Where are we going with this? How am I going to help them discover the right things so that I understand whether I can help them? Not knowing what to say is just an indicator that you feel unprepared in your side of things. If you feel prepared, then you'll enter every interaction knowing without a doubt you're going to know what to say. You're going to come up with something because you know your craft, you know your strategy, you know your system, you know your process. It's about being prepared. Now, here's the other thing. When someone interacts with you day to day, you know what to say. Someone could throw you a curveball, and every now and again you go, what? I don't know what to say to that. But the reality is 9 times out of 10, you know what to say to someone no matter what they throw at you. You're going to come up with something because you have conversation skills, right? That skill does not magically disappear now that the frame is you might be able to help them. And so it's a sales conversation. A sales conversation is just a regular conversation with more curiosity. And our last fear, fear number 4, is being told no. Now, this one can be combated with if you never ask, the answer is always no. So you can live in a world of just existing where no is the inevitable, or you can change that by taking action and finding out, is it really no? Or is it not right now? Or is it yes? Or is it maybe? All of those have more potential than just living in existence with it's always going to be no because you're never going to ask. So if you have a fear of hearing no, I want you to ask yourself why. Because if you fear hearing no, but you live every day knowing that the answer is inevitably no, how is that more comfortable than knowing it might be a maybe? It might be a not right now, but later down the road, it might be a yes. Why is it that you're more comfortable with knowing there will never be opportunity than opening the door to find out whether or not the opportunity is actually there? I want you to really sit with that and ponder that because that's a big one. The other thing I want you to think about is often no feels harder the more time we invest. So if you've spent a lot of time with someone in a sales process and then you hear no, it can feel really defeating. But I want you to think about all the things that you learned throughout that process. If someone says no, that's so much data in your business and how your sales process went. Why did they say no? Feedback. You can use all of that data to inform how to continue to get better and better and better in your business. So that no now becomes a win instead of just simply a disappointment. And no's are part of everything that we do. It comes back to rejection, right? There's nothing you can do in life where you're always going to hear yes. And if you did, it wouldn't feel the same. The wins would not feel the same. So do not fear no, reframe it. So now that we know the fears and how we built the image of what a salesperson is in our mind, it's time to reframe and take the time to ponder what is holding you back in your sales process. What is holding you back as showing up and authentically selling? You sell every single day when you don't realize you're doing it. So how can you show up consistently and how can you show up authentically in your sales process and change your mindset around what it's supposed to look like and feel like to be good at sales? Your mind is so powerful. Make sure that you are pondering how to use it as a weapon for forward movement and success versus a weapon of destruction. I would love to know which fear is holding you back. Drop it in the comments. If you got value out of this, drop a like as well. Subscribe. There will be more lessons like this. I'm also going to be sitting down with fellow entrepreneurs here very soon, and there are weekly pondering prompts to get you to ponder ways to move your business forward. This channel is all about helping founders move their businesses forward and ponder new ways of thinking. And of course, if you want to work with me, there will be a link in the description. You can book a strategy call with me, just a 1-hour session. If you're interested in the trust building video content that I create for founders, visit ponderthisconsulting.com to learn more and book a discovery call. And outside of that, happy hunting. You're a great salesperson. You just don't know it yet. Start that reframe, and I'll see you next time.